start. So we'll hear the sound. There it is. All right. So again, welcome everyone to today's RFP 233 Technical Assistance Conference. My name is Andres Salas. I'm a contract and grant manager here at the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. We have several team members on the call today supporting in various capacities. This recording, along with the slide deck, will be posted publicly. So we ask that you please refrain from recording this meeting. This includes using any AI-powered tools or any other recording applications, whether for personal or public use. Next slide, please. So here's the presentation overview. We're going to have a welcome and an overview. We're going to go over the program area details. We're going to view at a high level the RFP timeline and the application process. We're going to talk about city supplier and compliance requirements, and then we'll have time at the end for any question and answers. Next slide, please. So about OEWD. OEWD's mission is to advance equity and shared prosperity for all San Franciscans by growing sustainable jobs, supporting businesses of all sizes, creating great places to live and work, and helping everyone to achieve economic self-sufficiency. About the RFP. RFP 233. In August of 2025, the Office of Economic Workforce and Development, OEWD, issued RFP 233 to solicit proposals across three of its divisions: business development, impact policy and communication, and workforce development. The purpose of this solicitation is to deliver critical programs and initiatives that strengthen San Francisco's economy. The program areas covered by RFP 233. Applicants may propose under four areas: accelerate manufacturing, support for San Franciscans' manufacturing sector through outreach, real estate assistance, business connections, and marketing; downtown economic development, activation projects to boost recovery and attract workers, residents, and visitors to the financial district; general marketing services, citywide marketing, communication, media, and PR to enhance visibility and engagement; employment training panel, technical assistance and management for state ETP grants, including data collection, compliance, and employer support. Grants awarded through this RFP are anticipated to begin October 1st, 2025 or later. OEWD will share additional timeline and details once award decisions are finalized. Questions. Please submit your questions in the chat. Our team will answer as many questions as possible at this session. All questions will be logged, answered, and posted to the RFP 233 website. You may still submit questions until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, September 10th by email at oewd.procurement@sfgov.org. The deadline for substantive questions is September 10th. Technical questions will be accepted until the proposal submission deadline of Tuesday, September 16th at 5 p.m. About OEWD's Business Development Division. The Business Development Division of the Office of Economic and Workforce Development provides specialized support to address the unique needs of San Francisco businesses. The division strengthens the city's economy by helping local companies start, stay, and grow, and promoting job creation, tourism, and local investment. Business development acts as a centralized clearinghouse of resources and services, ensuring San Francisco remains a hub for innovative industries such as life sciences, information technology, clean technology, manufacturing, nonprofits, fashion, nightlife, and international commerce. The Business Development Division focuses on sector support, delivering target assistance for key industries to retain and expand businesses in the city. Outreach and real estate, providing technical assistance and helping businesses navigate San Francisco's real estate market. Information and resources, serving as a connector to financial, legal, marketing, and government programs. Neighborhood and corridor investment, supporting vibrant commercial corridors and small business recovery citywide. Business development ensures San Francisco remains competitive, inclusive, and supportive of entrepreneurs and industries driving the city's future. To learn more about the OED's division, please follow this link. Next, I'd like to call up Dylan, who is the program manager of Program Area A.
Andres, in Program Area A, Accelerate Manufacturing, we anticipate one reward, which is an annual amount of $75,000 with options to extend annually up to 6 years. It is a citywide investment targeting manufacturing businesses of all types. The services that we are requesting include, but are not limited to, conducting proactive outreach to manufacturing businesses, providing real estate assistance, acting as an information clearinghouse for both resources and policy updates, connecting businesses with workforce candidates and training, linking firms to city, state, and federal programs, developing local purchasing program campaigns and sector-wide networking, creating marketing opportunities for made in SF products, and data collection and reporting on industry health.
Thank you. And I'm going to pass it over to Susanna, who's in charge of Program Area B.
Thanks, Andres. We are anticipating to award one grantee with a maximum budget of $400,000 per year with an option to extend for a total of 6 years if funding is available. The eligible neighborhood is a financial district, and we are expecting the priority populations that the grantee to serve will be downtown businesses, property owners, and residents. Services being requested of the awardee will be expected to lead activations to increase foot traffic and stimulate recovery, execute reoccurring scalable events and strategies to attract workers, residents, and visitors, improve perception of downtown as a dynamic, engaging, and safe neighborhood, develop marketing campaigns to highlight the district's assets, foster collaborations with local stakeholders and small businesses, secure private sector partnerships and funding to sustain efforts, and finally, track economic impact through participation and survey data.
Thank you, Susanna. So next, we're going to talk about OED's Impact Policy and Communication Division and the Data Performance Division. The Impact Policy and Communications Division at the San Francisco Office of Economic Workforce and Development serves as a strategic shared service that supports all OED divisions. IPC strengthens program effectiveness, transparency, and community responsiveness by integrating data analysis, research, policy and development, and communication into departmental operations. Through this work, IPC ensures that OEWD's programs are guided by community voices rooted in racial equity and grounded in evidence-based practices. The IPC division focuses on shared services and accountability, provides centralized support across OEWD, aligning programs with community priorities and ensuring transparency. Communication and engagement leads outreach, public information, and stakeholder engagement to build awareness and strengthen community partnerships. Data and systems manages platforms, dashboards, and governance frameworks to ensure secure, reliable data for decision making. Policy equity and evaluation develops evidence-based policies, embeds racial equity and community voices, and conduct evaluations and training to drive continuous improvement. The IPC team ensures that OED initiatives from neighborhood revitalizations to workforce development are measurable, equitable, and aligned with the needs of the San Francisco's diverse communities. To learn more about our other divisions, please check our website. With that said, I'm going to pass it over to Kate, who is the program manager in charge of Program Area C.
Good afternoon. Okay. Program Area C General Marketing Services. Maximum budget request is $300,000 for over 2 years, expendable up to 6 years. Anticipated number of awards is 1. Total funding, OEWD expects to allocate $300,000 per year with an option to extend for a total of 6 years. Eligible, this is a citywide initiative. Priority population, San Francisco's residents, workers, and tourists. services requested, develop and execute citywide marketing and PR campaigns, provide brand strategy, content creation, and ad management, place media across digital, print, radio, TV, and streaming, produce creative assets, graphic design, video, photography, engage audiences via social media and influencer partnerships, conduct market research, surveys, and performance analytics, report on ROI, reach engagement, and campaign effectiveness.
Thank you, Kate. Now we're going to jump into OEWD's Workforce Development Division. The Workforce Development Division of OEWD trains and connects San Franciscans to sustainable jobs with career growth opportunities. The division promotes economic prosperity for all residents, including unemployed, underemployed, and those facing barriers to employment. The Workforce Division partners with employers, training providers, and community organizations to create equitable pipelines into San Francisco's key industries, construction, healthcare, hospitality, technology, etc. The Workforce Development Division focuses on training pipelines, preparing residents for in-demand careers through targeted training and skill development, employer partnerships, connecting businesses with qualified job seekers, supportive services addressing barriers to employment with wraparound support such as job readiness and case management, equity and access, ensuring historically underserved populations gain entry into sustainable living wage careers. Through these efforts, the Workforce Development Division helps residents achieve long-term self-sufficiency while meeting the evolving labor needs of San Francisco's economy. I'm going to be speaking to Program Area D. So in this Program Area D, the Employment Training Panel, ETP, TA, and Management, the maximum budget request is up to $75,000 for 4 years. We anticipate one award. OEWD expects to allocate $75,000 per year, totaling $300,000 for 4 years of service. The eligible neighborhoods is citywide. Priority population would be nonprofits and for-profits. Services requested: manage OEWD state ETP grants, collect and submit training and demographic data, establish systems for enrollment, documentation, and quality control, liaise with employers and maintain info database, prepare monthly reports, cash flow plans and invoices, represent OEWD at ETP monitoring meetings, assist with ETP grant application and amendments, provide outreach and TA workshops to local businesses. So then here is a high level view of our RFP timeline. This RFP was published, I believe, 2 Fridays ago, August 29th, 2025. It was published to our website. Today we have the Technical Assistance Conference. Wednesday, September 10th, and 2 days from now will be the deadline to submit any substantive questions by 5 p.m. You can either ask us here or email us. After that date, we'll only be able to take just basic questions such as your supplier, knowing your supplier information, but we won't be able to answer anything substantive after Wednesday, September 10th at 5 p.m. On Friday, September 12th, we will post the final Q&A log to our website by Friday night. And then Tuesday, September 16th, all proposals are due by 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's the deadline. Next slide. So now I'm going to go over how to apply for this RFP. So applications for this RFP will only be accepted online. You can review the application questions in Appendix A. All components of the proposal package include supplementary materials such as letter support must be submitted through the online system no later than Tuesday, September 16th, 2025 at 5 p.m. If you visit this website, this will be shared out afterward to all the folks who attended. It'll tell you all the current bid opportunities on the website, and there's the image right there. It's right below the link. And then again, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us for support at oewd.procurement@sfgov.org. So the next slide, we're going to go through supplier instructions. Okay, so if you're already a current compliant supplier, now is a great time to submit your questions through the chat. While supplier status is not a prerequisite for applying for this RFP, awardees must obtain an active supplier ID and be fully compliant within 10 days of receiving a notice of award. This includes completing all registration steps in the city's supplier portal, providing necessary business and tax documentation, and meeting all compliance requirements such as city business tax registration and insurance coverage. We strongly encourage you begin this process now, as supplier registration can take several days depending on the completeness of your documentation and the time needed for city review. Suppliers who are not registered and compliant cannot receive city funds or enter into contracts. For more info on becoming a city supplier or to start your registration, visit the SF City Supplier portal at sfcitypartner.sfgov.org or contact the user support desk at the provided email or phone number. Now we're going to go over a list of our supplier compliance requirements. So we have city supplier registration. We have the Secretary of State, Office of Attorney General. We're going to go through the first sort. We're going to have some folks present on the first source hiring program, the business tax compliance, TTX, equal benefits, formerly 12B compliance by contract monitoring division, minimum compensation ordinance, healthcare accountability ordinance, and the healthcare security ordinance. We'll have the Office of Labor Standard Enforcement present on that slide. Next slide. So thank you. So first, let's cover how to become a city supplier. If you're selected for a contract or grant award, you must be registered as a city supplier, formerly vendor. While supplier status is not required to apply, the registration process can take time, and we encourage you to begin as early as possible. We encourage you to visit the supplier portal at sfcitypartner.sfgov.org and gather all required supporting documents before starting your application. At a minimum, you will need your W-9 and tax ID or Social Security number if you're a sole proprietor. Step 1 in the process is obtaining a bidder ID. You will not receive a supplier ID until you complete your business tax registration with the Treasurer and Tax Collector's Office and submit all required filings to the Contract Monitoring Division to demonstrate compliance with Chapter 12B Equal Benefit Ordinance. Each of these requirements will be explained in the following slides. So, all businesses, whether nonprofit or for-profit, must be registered and in good standing with the California Secretary of State Business Registry to be eligible for a grant award. Your entity must be listed under its legal business name and maintain good standing with the Franchise Tax Board. This compliance requirement also applies to all subgrantees. To verify your status, please visit the Secretary of State's website and look up your entity and confirm compliance. The link is there on this page. And again, this slide deck will be shared at the end of the TA conference. Additionally, sorry for coughing. Additionally, nonprofit charitable organizations must be registered and in good standing with the California Office of the Attorney General. This requirement also applies to any nonprofit charitable organizations you list as a subgrantee, all of which must meet OAG compliance standard. So for the first source hiring program, I'm going to call up Mr. Lowell Rice, who will take us through the next few slides. Mr. Rice, please unmute yourself and come on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andres. My name is Lowell Rice, manager of the First Source Hiring Program. And the First Source Hiring Program was first promulgated in the City Code in 1998. So this is a program that's been around a while. If you go to the next slide, you can see that it was amended in 2009. Essentially, it covers employers need to make a good faith effort to hire local residents that are economically disadvantaged for entry-level positions. And entry-level positions are defined in the city code as being any position that requires less than 2 years experience. You do not, it does not include credentials as a criteria. So if the position requires a college graduate and they need less than 2 years experience to perform the work in that position, that would be a first source position. Next slide, please. This shows you that the covered employees are the businesses that have contract amounts over $50,000 and also any commercial activity that's over 25,000 square feet. Every business that has that's in a city-owned building is also obligated by this ordinance. Next slide, please. First source is very easy to become first source. So you submit a projection form to us, and this projection form is probably the next slide, but it will ask you whether you have any entry-level positions currently open. And if you do, then you notify us of those positions. We get that out to our community of network providers. They then screen those individuals that are looking for jobs and match them up to the requirements that you have of the job positions that are open. And then we ask that you make a good faith effort to give those candidates a fair shake by either giving them an interview, a screening, an interview, and then hopefully hire them. But as you can see from this last bullet, it's the good faith effort that we're looking for. This is not a mandatory hiring program. Next slide, please. And once you win this award, you will be registered as a first source employer in what we call the Workforce Link SF. That's our database. In real time, we will submit resumes to you that have been screened by my team, and they will then you can look at those in real time and you can match them against the job order that you have in the system and see if it's a good fit. Eventually, we'd like you to make them a person, employee of your organization. But again, this is not mandatory. But if you do, then we will ask you to verify the hire through our system as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. Are there any questions? Do we have time for questions, Andres?
Let's take questions at the end, please, Mr. Lowell. So we
Okay.
could, if people could go, they could be excused. Thank you for
Thank you.
helping out. Appreciate it. So next, we're gonna go through a few more supplier instructions. We're gonna have, again, the Treasurer and Tax Collector Office, the Contract Monitoring Division, and OLSE present. So on the next slide, I'm gonna call up Mr. Peter to present.
Thank you, Andre. Good afternoon. My name is Peter Chu, and I'm from the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office in the Taxpayer Assistant Unit. Also with me in this presentation is my colleague, Teresa Tran. Today I'm going to talk about business registration with the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office. So once you receive your bidder ID number, go to our website, which is showing on this slide. Once you are there, there's a question that asks, are you already registered? If you already have a business account with our office, simply click the yellow highlighted section labeled click here to enter your band number and bidder supply ID number. Then just enter the information and hit it. The next slide, please. If you don't have your business account number and you want to see whether or not you are required to register with our office, you need to go ahead and answer these 11 questions that you see on the screen. You can answer no to all 11 questions. You are not required to register with our office. So after you select no to all the questions, then click continue. Next slide, please. You will see this in lieu of business registration form. So you just need to complete the form and submit it. If you have any question, you can always email us at ptx.vendoraccounts@sfgov.org. Next slide, please. And let's assume that you answer yes to any one of those questions. It will redirect you to our online business registration page here. So you need to register with our office within 30 days to commencing your business, and required to renew your business registration by the end of February of every year. Next slide, please. And I also want to point out that when you are completing your online application, there is a question that asks, are you establishing this business, be a vendor or participant in the procurement process, city and county of San Francisco? Make sure you answer yes to that question, so that when you select yes, it will ask you to enter your bidder or supplier ID number. And what this does is that once you submit your application online, we will get a notification telling us that this business account is a city vendor account. So what we do at the end of every day is that we send a spreadsheet to the supply management team, convert your bidder ID number to supply ID number. Then they will link your business account number with your supplier ID number. And if you have any question, you can always email us at tx.vendororaccount@ss.gov.org. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Peter. I'm now going to pass it to Ruth Santana over from the Contract Monitoring Division.
Hi, thanks, Andres. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Let's see. So I'm from the Contract Monitoring Division, and I support and review suppliers when they are submitting their equal benefits compliance declaration through the online SF City Partner Portal. So the contact information is on this first page. If you have any questions, this would be cmdequalbenefits@sfgov.org. If you're looking for information on how to comply, that's going to be your best resource. And then the Equal Benefits Program, that link will provide you with the information necessary to comply. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is the Equal Benefits Ordinance, Articles 131 and 132, Labor and Employment Code? It was formerly known as 12B, so you may hear departments ask if you are 12B compliant. So just an FYI, it's now called Equal Benefits. So Equal Benefits is a social policy that requires city contractors to provide equal treatment for employer-sponsored health and well-being benefits. City requires equal benefits compliance for contracts. So any suppliers looking awarded a contract will need to comply with equal benefits. And it's primarily equal benefits is tied to payment. So you want to be equal benefits compliant when you are awarded a contract to ensure that any invoicing and payment processing isn't delayed. So the next part is, what are the employer requirements? So if benefits are provided, if any of the suppliers that are on this meeting, if any of you provide benefits to your employees, this requirement is that the benefits that are provided be provided equally to employees that are married and similar to a domestic partnership. So employees who are in a domestic partnership are treated the same as married employees for the purposes of employee benefits. Employees are given the option to add a spouse or domestic partner to employer-sponsored benefits when available. and proof of relationship and waiting period requirements are applied the same for employees that are married as are in a domestic partnership. So those are the basic requirements. Next slide, please. So how do I complete the equal benefits compliance? Well, as I said earlier, you're going to start at the link where it says comply with equal benefits program. You're going to, that link will take you to the information related to how to comply, or, you know, what you need to do. Prior to starting the process of submitting your declaration, you want to gather the 3 documents that you're going to need, which is the first one, you want to have something that supports your total number of employees. So if you have an IRS Form 941 or a W-3, you would provide that document, and there's an area in the declaration to attach that. And then if there are benefits offered, we don't review policy documents or employee handbooks. What we ask for is just a memorandum that summarizes employee benefits. And there's a template within the declaration, the online declaration, that will take you to a Word document that will help you with creating that memorandum. So all this gets completed online through the SF City Partner Portal. When you log in, you should identify where it says comply with equal benefits, and that will take you to the declaration. So next slide, please. What if I do not provide benefits or have 0 employees, or my employees have no partner or spouse? What do I do? Compliance is required for all firms. However, documenting compliance for a firm in this situation is simpler. For example, if you do not provide benefits, on the declaration, respond to questions 2A and 2B with no. Those questions are related specifically to benefits, so you would indicate no if you do not offer benefits. If you have 0 employees, you're going to provide an IRS Form 1040 Schedule SE, or there is a self-certification form that can be provided from CMD. But that form is typically something you would have to reach out to us to get. And then have employees with no partner or spouse. Document that if employee marital or partnership status changes, they are still equal benefits compliant. This will be declared in the memorandum to employees. So in the declaration, there is an area that you can make comments, and in that area, you would want to indicate, you know, perhaps you offer benefits, but at this time, none of your employees are married or in a domestic partnership. So sometimes businesses might think, well, this doesn't apply to me. What we're looking for is to ensure that if the marital status change or somebody does get into a registered domestic partnership, that the benefits would be available to them as well. Next slide, please. So, want more information. So here is a link under more info on the Equal Benefits Program. That will take you to the information related to the Equal Benefits Program. There's a step-by-step aid for Equal Benefits online declaration. That's the link there that will give you the actual images of what you'll see in the declaration. And then if you're having issues with logging in, help from the San Francisco City Partner Portal, there's a link for the help desk. If you're having issues with like login, or you might have issues with your user ID or password. So basically, equal benefits compliance is a simple process. But what we do recommend is that you initiate the process of complying prior to, you know, getting into contract, just because it makes the process less complicated for the actual supplier. And if you have any questions or you're unclear, because you know you're getting a lot of information, please feel free to reach out. I offer assistance to suppliers and departments. I want to help you guys complete this process, which should take no more than 10 to 15 minutes. So that's it for me. Yes, contact us with any and all questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Now I'm going to call up James, or Mr. Jimmy as he goes by, and or Beverly to present on the Office of Labor Standard Enforcement.
Hey there, everyone. Andreas, actually, prevailing wage is not relevant for these packages, so we can skip on over to the next slide. So hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. My name is Beverly Popek, and I'm with the Minimum Compensation Healthcare Accountability Ordinance Unit. I am going to give you information about your labor requirements per these opportunities that you have in front of you. So if you don't have a piece of paper and a pen, you might want to take this down, because I'm going to go through all of these requirements, but you're going to wonder, well, is it relevant to me? So by each program area, I'm going to call it out. And I'm going to let you know which one it is that you should be focusing on, which is relevant to you. So let's kick it off with Program Area A, Accelerate Manufacturing. It is a grant. It's for nonprofits. The labor laws for you, and we're going to go through this later, is Minimum Compensation Ordinance and Healthcare Security Ordinance. All right, and then Program Area B, that is a grant. It's for nonprofits. The relevant labor laws for you would be Minimum Compensation Ordinance and Healthcare Security Ordinance. And then for Program Area C as in Charlie and D as in David, these are opportunities for profit. And the last one, I believe it's for profit and nonprofit, and it would be for Minimum Compensation Ordinance and Healthcare Accountability Ordinance. So those are the specific requirements per the contract that you would eventually sign. So what I'd like to do is I want to go through the requirements of each of these labor requirements with your understanding that you need to factor in the cost of compliance into your proposal to OED. So this is super important. And after all of this, if you are confused, you need more information, because not everybody might be here today, or you might watch this recording later, you need more information, you're always welcome to contact our unit, but please specify which program area you're applying to so we know the exact labor requirements for you. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so the minimum compensation ordinance, MCO, is a contract requirement, and you're applying for the city and county of San Francisco contracts. This is not minimum wage. So remember that this is minimum compensation ordinance, and you're covered under this requirement if you are a nonprofit or for-profit, and you have 5 or more employees anywhere in the world. So it's anywhere in the world. It's a worldwide count. And by winning this contract, signing on to this contract, you'll have to comply for the scope of work that you're performing for this contract. Now, if you indeed hire any subcontractors to work for you to, say, perform outreach or some sort of media planning and things like that that's specified under the scope of work, those subcontractors need to comply with the MCO that we're talking about here, as well as the other laws that we'll be talking about later. So that's who's covered as an employer. So who are the covered employees that you would have to be looking at to cover? It's anyone working for you on the covered city contract. So any one of these program areas, A, B, C, or D, you win it and you have someone working on it. If they're working on it, those hours that they're working on it, they're covered under the minimum compensation ordinance. And that's, of course, when they're working in the United States. We have technology here. If you have someone working outside of the United States on this, then they are not covered under the MCO. Next slide, please. So what is compensation? It's wages and it's also time off. So on the left-hand side, we have wages for the for-profits and wages for the nonprofits. Thing to understand is that we are the fiscal year calendar. We have annual increases that occur every July 1st. So these are the current rates right now. If your rate is going to increase, perhaps in July, maybe you gotta factor that in. And of course, I want you to know that the nonprofit rate increase and rates are contingent on the city budget. So it might stay the same. It really depends. So one of the big things, you make sure you pay at least that wage rate or higher. You can always be more generous. On the right-hand side, we have our paid time off and unpaid time off requirements. So what's this? You just have to make sure that you are giving your folks the bare minimum of what we're asking here for paid time off, which is the accrual rate of 0.04615 hours of paid time off. You, as an organization, might already give paid time off and you might exceed this or meet it, then you're fine. You don't have to do anything. But if you're not sure, if you have vacation and sick and you're not sure if you meet this, feel free to contact us and we'll help you figure it out. All you have to do is be in compliance from day one. You don't have to be in compliance as you put together your proposal or anything like that. So that's about paid time off. Unpaid time off, this is for use of unpaid sick time, and that's the only use for that. So you might already have a policy in place for someone to take unpaid time off if they run out of paid time off. At a bare minimum, there's an accrual rate of 0.03846 hours, or that's about 10 days if someone is working full time, like 40 hours a week, like a robot. Again, you may already have something like this that you offer. If you don't, you just need to be in compliance by the time you start to perform services for OED. Next slide, please. So let's move on over to the Healthcare Accountability Ordinance, HCAO. Now, the covered employer definition is a little bit different, so pay attention on this one. It's very different from MCO. If you're for profit, you have to have 20 or more employees anywhere in the world to have to follow this law. If you're a nonprofit, you have to have 50 or more employees anywhere in the world to have to follow this law, okay? So if you're under those numbers, then you don't have to comply. You don't have to do this law. Now, of course, if you win this opportunity, this contract means that if you have that number or higher, you have to follow this law and do something. If you hire any subcontractors to perform work on the covered contract, you got to make sure that they follow the HCAO as well. You're responsible. Just like for the MCO compliance, you would be responsible for the HCO's compliance too. Now let's see. Let's move on over to who are your covered employees. It's anyone who works in the United States at least 20 hours a week or more on the city contract for the services. So anyone who works 20 hours a week in the United States for this contract will be covered, and you got to do some. So let's move over to the next slide and take a look at this here. Now, if you don't have someone working, say, 20 hours a week, do you have to do something? Is there a healthcare law for you? Yes. If you are performing work, if the person's performing work in San Francisco, you will have to follow a basic city and county healthcare law called the Healthcare Security Ordinance. So that's something to remember. And you should take a look at that if you've never heard about it and understand what to do for compliance. Next slide, please. So we have standard declaration forms for the minimum compensation and healthcare accountability ordinance. And what it requires is that you need to declare that if you have to comply with the MCO and the HCO, you will do that. Now, this is a requirement for all contracts that are $25,000 or greater, and I'll make it really easy for you. All of these opportunities you'll have to declare. Otherwise, you won't be awarded the contract unless you already have these declaration forms on file in our system. So just complete these forms, and you're just agreeing to comply if you have to. And if you're under the threshold, meaning you're a small nonprofit or business and you're like, I'm not covered by this. Do I have to fill it out? The answer is yes. This is a promise that if you have to comply, you will. You may be small, you may not have to comply with these labor laws, but if you hire a subcontractor and they are of a certain size, they may have to, of course, comply with these labor laws. And you're going to promise that as a prime contractor, you're responsible for not only your compliance, but your subcontractor's compliance of labor laws. Next slide, please. So this is a nice summary page of information that you could find on our website, which is the Office of Labor Standards Enforcement website. We have our MCO, HCO web pages. We also have the HCSO stuff that you could find on our website. We have a phone number that's available. Please contact us. If you want to email us, I would say please let us know some times that you're available and which program area you're interested in. So, for example, if you're interested in program area A as an apple or C, those are really kind of different. And we want to make sure we customize information just for you so you understand what you have to do so that when you put together your proposal, it is really in compliance and you factor in the cost of labor compliance with the proposal. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beverly. So questions, you could, looks like we have some questions being answered in there already, but you could submit your questions in the chat. Our team will answer as many questions as possible at this session. All questions will be logged, answered, and posted to the RFP 233 website. You may still submit substantive questions until Wednesday, September 10th by 5 p.m. By email to oewd.procurement@sfgov.org. Now, I do also want to flag before we go to questions is that we've been, notified that Appendix A, there's an error on Appendix A, so we should be updating the Appendix A by tomorrow. We'll have our standard questions posted. Again, there's an issue with Appendix A. We'll go on ahead and update and change that and have it posted by tomorrow. Other than that, I have asked the program managers in charge of specific areas to answer some of the questions in the chat. And last but not least, please, from now until the RFP closes, please continue to check the RFP website for any updates that we have posted or published. Now, with that said, I'll see if my colleagues are on the call, and if not, if we can't get to your questions that were answered in the chat, we'll post these answers by Wednesday. So I'll give it a second, and then we'll kind of hold off a few. Okay, so seems like if we can't answer your questions today, we'll get to your questions and post the answers by Wednesday. You could also feel free to email us at oewd.procurement@sfgov. With that said, we could end the recording now. We could end the recording now, Brandon.
Pardon me just for a moment while I'm getting that ended. There we go, stop share and recording stop.